Hi everyone, this is Sandeep from Intuit. This is the first episode of two-part knowledge session series, and we are here to take you through the first topic, which is Unified Ingestion Platform. And now I would like to begin by introducing myself. I am a Principal Data Engineer at Intuit. I have more than 2 decades of experience in software industry, working in these technologies which I mentioned. I have 3 defensive publications in my name, and I am also a reviewer of multiple technical books. And I do write various technical blogs on my LinkedIn profile as well as on Medium. Coming to UIP, so Unified Ingestion Platform, we call it UIP. It powers the ingestion of raw data from various transactional, non-transactional, NoSQL, third-party sources to the data lake. And we also put that data into the event bus, which is Kafka, for various analytics and streaming use cases. So UIP, Unified Ingestion Platform, sits in between the producers and the consumers. Now, who are the producers? Producers are the people or the teams who generate the data, who are, there could be the various applications teams like QuickBooks and Mint and so on, or those could be database admins. And on the producer side, we have various users of the data of the data lake. Those are data engineers, data scientists, various analysts. So they consume data from data lake, and UIP responsibility is to take data from these sources and sync into the data lake. So we have this self-ingestion platform enabled. So you can do self-onboarding, management, and things like this. What is the vision of UIP? So vision of UIP is we plan to provide simple, reliable, and ingestion system for the source teams. We allow users to focus on the data and not on the engineering. To elaborate this little bit, if some team working in some system, some application, they want to have their data available in data lake, they don't need to know various data engineering frameworks or how data lake works and how synchronization happens. They can come to a self-serve portal and they can onboard themselves. And with few clicks, their data will be becoming available in the data lake. We empower those teams to publish their data both for the analytics as well as for the real-time consumption. And on top of that, we don't want ourselves, the data engineers, to be focused on onboarding individual source teams. We want to focus on building the platform. Any onboarding or any uses of our platform can be tackled by the self-serve. And what do we do? What does UIP do? We provide a simple and reliable platform to ingest your data into the lake, and the platform syncs the data into the lake in a format which is easily consumable by analysts, and it is optimized for analyst consumption. We interact with the input team or the upstream teams, which are the owner of the data at the source side. It could be data could be in MySQL, it could be in Postgres, Dynamo, Cassandra, Oracle, MS SQL, File, API, and we interact with them, and we let them onboard their data into our platform, and we make the data available in an output format for the downstream streams. So this is the raw data which was there at the source. Now it has been synced into the data lake, and data lake is built in Hive, and it can be consumed by the downstream consumers. With the scale at which UIP works, we have almost 4.6 billion events getting processed every day, and these events are coming from around 12,000 tables, which are getting ingested and synchronized on daily basis into the lake. This is again a little bit elaboration of the UIP scale. As I said, 12,000 tables we ingest across charts. One biggest table, one biggest table which we ingest has around 118 billion records. That is number of records in one table itself. The events which we are processing every day is 4.6 billion. 15 terabytes of data, is the amount of data which we ingest. So we have petabytes of data saved into the lake, but these are just the CDC events, new events coming in every day. And these are of the order of 15 terabytes. And we have this onboarding, new onboarding happenings every month. So on an average in a month, we get around 616 new onboardings. These are new data sets which are coming from different sources, which need to be synced into the lake. How do we achieve this? This is high level architecture of our UiP system. If you see on the left hand side, you see the various type of sources. Those could be coming from relational DB, NoSQL, files, domain events. Domain events are coming from the application layer of the system, of the source itself, the third parties. So we take those events and we have an adapter layer in between. The responsibility of this adapter layer is to get these events from the source systems and put it into event bus. So we have two types of events, two type of sources. One type of sources which are generating data in real time, which are generating the events in real time. And second type of sources which have the batch data, for example, files and everything. So all the events which are coming in by adapter layer gets pushed into the event bus, and the users who want to consume data, as soon as it lands into the event bus or into the into the event bus, they can consume from the event bus directly. We do have a batch materialization running. This batch materialization runs at various intervals for various sources. For some sources we run it once a day, for some we run every 6 hours, and for some we run every hour. And this materialization takes data from whatever CDC data we have got, and it syncs to the lake. So sync means it, whatever new records have been added, it adds to the lake into the corresponding schema in the table. The updated records get updated. The deleted records goes away from the lake. And as you mentioned, this is all self-serve enabled. So you can come and, give your information and everything, magic happens in the background. We have data cataloging. We catalog your data, whatever data you're onboarding. We have the governance, and we have various metrics and monitoring dashboards. The idea here is that this is a background system. Once you onboard yourself, the system keeps running, and every time, it just constantly keeps syncing your source into the lake. Now, any problem which is happening in the system, we should be knowing it, because no user is sitting and monitoring the system 24/7. So we have developed various monitoring scripts and various wavefront dashboards. So anything which we monitor, all the many metrics, anything which is going wrong or is about to go wrong or has gone wrong, it gets captured by those metrics. Self-filling kicks in. If it gets self-filled, then good. If it doesn't, then we get alerts. We get pagerduty alerts, and corresponding engineer, on-call engineers go and fixes that. So at very high level, this is the UiP architecture. I will hand it over to Shivanshu to go over this further. Shivanshu, back to you.
Thank you, Sandeep. So I'm Shivanshu. I am working as a data engineer here at Intuit. I'm currently leading the self-serve ingestion team at Intuit. I have total 5 years of industry experience, both into data engineering and software development. Apart from work, I am a huge sports fan. Yeah, so now let's talk about the self-serve ingestion platform, which empowers the source team to describe, govern, and publish their own data pipelines. So the source teams can actually come to the platform and onboard their pipelines on the fly in a matter of few clicks. So in self-serve ingestion platform, there are majorly 3 workflows. The first one is ingestion, second one is management, and third one is the platform evolution. So I'll take you through all of them one by one. So first up, we have the ingestion workflow. So the users come to the platform and they have to complete some prerequisites before actually onboarding their pipelines to the data lake. So the prerequisites are like, we need to establish one peering connection or a transit gateway connection between the 2 VPCs, as in wherein the source systems reside and where a data lake actually resides. So once that connectivity is established, there are some more prerequisites that need to be completed, based on the source type. For example, in the case of MySQL, the source system needs to enable row-based bin logging so that UiP can actually read those events from the bin logs, and those events would include both the upserts and deletes. So once all the prerequisites are completed, the users can actually create their own pipelines and get onboarded to the data lake. So once they're onboarded to the data lake, so now comes the management part. As in, there might be a use case wherein the user might want to add additional table to an existing data set. Or let's say some password change happened at source. Now they want to change the password of the source systems. So all of these capabilities are empowered by our management workflow, wherein users can come and manage their data pipelines. They can even rebootstrap their entire data. They can subscribe to notification and alerts, and they can change all the notification email IDs. So everything related to their pipelines, they can manage it after it's onboarded right on the portal itself. So the third one is the platform evolution. So platform evolution, it covers self-healing and proactive notification and alerting. So we are constantly working toward this, as in if any of our component goes down, so there is a self-healing mechanism in place, which actually tries to recover that alert. Apart from that, we also have various alerts and notifications set up in case a lag has been built up. So our team and the customers are notified if there is any lag in the data. And apart from that, all these alerts and notifications, they are directly notified to the customers as well, and they are sent to the UiP team as well to take an action. Yeah. So now let's talk about the self-serve ingestion user journey, as in how does the platform look like and what all inputs users have to make to actually get onboarded to the data lake. So as you can see, there are two various workflows in this. One is the incremental data details, and the second one is the historical data details. So the incremental data details, it would cover all the source details that the user needs to input. So the source details would be the type of the database system, what is the username, what is the password, what is the port we need to connect to. So all those things. And second, we have also enabled one historical data details. So why we have separated out both of these concerns is, so the incremental data would be pretty less. So basically we can connect to writer instance there, because all the bin logging and write ahead logs, they are enabled on writer instances. But for historical bootstrap, we wouldn't want to actually put a load on the source systems. So that's why users can actually specify some reader replicas, which UiP could use to actually bootstrap the data. And for the incremental data, there would be writer instances going forward. So once the user has provided all the inputs in the portal about their data set, so that is when we actually start the onboarding in the background. So we help set up an environment for them, as in by setting up an environment, I mean, now all these usernames and passwords that they have provided to the portal, we need to store it in a secret manager. Then we need to create their Hive tables and Hive databases. Then we also need to create some topics, some event bus topics, which are Kafka topics, to actually store that data. And apart from that, we need to launch some infrastructure, some EC2 boxes and some EMRs to actually process that data. So all this environment setup is done in the background by UiPay itself, by the platform itself. So next we have is data cataloging. So data cataloging, or data documentation as we call it, it is the heart of any data-driven organization. So it aids the data stakeholders to provide them with a comprehensive view of their data with complete accessibility and governance. So as an ingestion platform, it is our responsibility that the data ingested by us is discoverable, addressable, and trustworthy. For this, we must enable data cataloging. So we have an in-house one-stop solution for all the metadata needs. So we store all the metadata related to the dataset in metadata registry, which is our in-house platform, which manages and surfaces metadata of all various Intuit datasets to enable users across Intuit to actually explore and discover their data. So there are majorly two workflows in data cataloging. One, the user can actually catalog via UI, and the user can also catalog via XLS. So there might be a use case when the user is actually onboarding more than 100 tables in one go. In those use cases, the person can opt for catalog via XLS. But if it is like only few column addition, or let's say only a couple of table addition, so the users can catalog it via UI only. So let's have a look at how the cataloging flow looks. So this is the cataloging via UI flow. So, so if I talk about data documentation, there are majorly 4 types of documentation that we have. One is the technical documentation. Second one is the business documentation. Third is governance, and fourth is classification. So all the technical documentation. So by technical documentation, I mean all the documentation related to what all schemas are present. In those schemas, what all tables are present, and in those tables, what are the columns and what are their data types. So all the technical documentation, all the technical metadata, UIP auto crawls it right from the source, because now we already have the host information for the source systems. So we crawl it and we store all the technical metadata in MDR, which is our in-house platform to store all the metadata. So once the technical documentation is automatically done by UIP, the user actually has to provide the business, governance, and classification document. So in business documentation, the user has to provide some title and description so that their data is easily discoverable. Once the business documentation is done, so next comes is the governance documentation. So there are many compliances that we need to adhere to. For example, 7216, SOX, CCPA, and GDPR, etc. So for this, we need some input from the users. So like 7216 compliance says that the US taxpayer data cannot be accessed anywhere else. So we need to ensure that our data is compliant, it is consistent, and it is trustworthy, and our data cannot be misused. So we need to take care of all the compliance information. That's why we catalog it upfront. So once the governance documentation is done, so users can actually mark their tables, their data sets, that whether it is 7216 compliant or not, whether it's SOX compliant or not. So all these things users can actually do it on the UI in the first tab on the right. So once the governance documentation is done, next up we have the classification document. So we also need to classify every column, that what is its type, what is the type of data, as in, is the data public, is the data restricted, or is the data highly sensitive. So why it's important is because based on the sensitivity of the data, it helps us to understand the importance of that data, and we can actually implement controls to mitigate risks related to that data. So once the user catalogs all the information related to their data sets, the title description, the governance, and the classification information, the data is cataloged. So once the data is already cataloged, it is good for ingestion, and UIP in the background, it onboards all the tables that the user wants to onboard to the data lake, and that's it. That's all you need to get your data from the source systems to the data lake. Yeah, over to you, Sandeep.
Thank you, Shivanshu. So I'll talk about few of the key features of ingestion platform. And in addition to that, what are the challenges we faced and how did we overcome? And possibly few insights into the, the future roadmap of ingestion platform. So as you have seen, Shivanshu walked you through the self-serve ingestion through the portal. So a user can give all the information needed, do some click, enter something, click some buttons, and onboarding happens. We have a freshness of data into the data lake for less than an hour. And we have some real-time consumption also happening from the Kafka topics. We have some auto cataloging features because the users might be coming to the platform, ingestion platform, for the first time. They might not even have cataloged their data. So we let user, give that schema, and our cataloging system, which is metadata registry, which Shivanshu talked about, it has capability of crawling the data. If we have some data sources which are crawlable. All RDBMS are crawlable, but some data sources are not crawlable. For example, S3 or data coming from external APIs. But whatever is crawlable, we trigger, UIP does trigger that crawling, and crawling takes the schema, and then user can modify, add governance information, modifies the classification and everything. And then we upload that schema into the metadata registry. So we allow that. We also allow automatic data classification. So we have some machine learning model running in the background. The moment the data gets onboarded and schema gets crawled, that classifier determines whether it is what is the classification of the particular columns, and user has liberty to accept or change those classifications. And documentation already Shivanshu walked you through. Important thing is that we have one architecture for all type of sources. As you've seen, right, we ingest data from SQL, which include MySQL, MS SQL, Oracle, Postgres. Then we have NoSQL, Cassandra, DynamoDB. Then we have APIs, the REST endpoint data coming from REST endpoints. Then we have data coming from files in S3 and so on. So we have one ingestion, a platform which deals with all type of these varied hybrid sources. And you have seen the self-serve management. Now, the challenges which we are facing is, which we faced is that because of this huge amount of data coming from various sources, so we have to, come up with proper monitoring and alerting mechanisms for each of these type of sources. So we spend good amount of time making sure that our system runs fine, and at any time, if it's not running fine, we have to, we get alerted and we take corresponding action. The other thing was that if you if you have observed, the data which is getting saved into the lake is, we save the data into Parquet format, and Parquet by default is not designed for update operations. For example, update or delete operations. You can add records, but update and delete operations are not designed. So we have our own materialization logic, which sort of implement this merge or the syncing for the CDC events which are coming, and getting merged into the, and it just merges that into the lake. The idea is that any table you see in the lake, it should be similar to the source, and that's what our materialization does. It has added complexity for the various reasons, for the various use cases wherein one record can get updated multiple times. One record can get deleted, added back again, then deleted again, then added, then get updated again, any number of times. So these all complexity gets taken care by the materialization. So that's how the current architecture is. We are working on the real-time materialization at this moment. We are it's in development phase. We are using the Delta Lake from Databricks for real-time materialization. So that's more or less a very high-level introduction about ingestion platform, various key features and the technical challenges and the roadmap of our platform. So that's it from the from the UIP team. Thank you very much. Stay tuned for the second episode.